The billionaire's mansion, normally glowing like a monument of power, looked like a collapsing kingdom that night. Inside the private hospital wing he built for his only child, alarms kept flickering red, and doctors rushed from one monitor to the next, whispering the kind of things people whisper when they're afraid to say them out loud. His daughter, she was slipping. She lay there, still, pale, barely breathing, surrounded by machines worth more money than most people would see in a lifetime. But none of them were helping. Not tonight. Increase the dosage, now! Her vitals are crashing! We're losing her! Again! The billionaire stood frozen at her bedside, both hands gripping the railing as if holding on to her was the only thing keeping him alive. His eyes were swollen, raw, defeated. He had flown in top specialists from 3 countries. He had shut down an entire airport so an emergency medical jet could land faster. He had spent millions in 6 hours, and still, she wasn't waking up. One of the foreign doctors exhaled slowly, removed his gloves, and said the words that stabbed every person in the room. "Sir, we've done everything science allows. I'm sorry." The billionaire's face collapsed. All the money, all the power, all the influence. Useless. His world was sinking, and there was not a single hand reaching to pull him up. He turned slowly, raised both trembling arms, and announced with a voice that cracked like glass, "Whoever saves my daughter's life will receive my entire estate. All of it." Gasps filled the room. Doctors stared at each other. Even the bodyguards froze. But no one stepped forward. No one had hope left. Until the door at the far end creaked open. A man, tired jeans, worn jacket, calm eyes, walked in. A black single dad, holding a small metal flask in his hand. He didn't look rich. He didn't look connected. He didn't look like it. He belonged in a room full of billionaires and world-renowned surgeons. And yet, he walked with the confidence of someone who knew something they didn't. He bowed his head slightly. "Sir," he said softly, "let me try my water therapy, just 5 minutes, alone with her." Every doctor in the room stared, and then burst out laughing. Laughter ricocheted off the marble walls like insults made of steel. "Water therapy? Is this a joke? Security! Who let this man inside?" The billionaire flinched, not because of the doctor's reaction, but because the stranger didn't. He stood, calm, steady, like someone used to being underestimated. The head surgeon stepped forward, voice dripping with arrogance. "Sir, your daughter needs real medicine, not whatever tribal nonsense this man believes in." Another doctor snorted. A third shook his head and whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. "People like him always show up with miracle stories. Total nonsense." The billionaire clenched his jaw, but he didn't speak. He had seen dozens of experts fail tonight. Maybe that was why desperation made him listen instead of dismissing. The black single dad finally lifted his eyes. No anger, no fear, just certainty. "I said 5 minutes, that's all." The head surgeon scoffed. 5 minutes won't even stabilize her blood pressure. And you? Who are you? A nurse? A driver? What medical school teaches water? The room chuckled again. But the billionaire didn't laugh. He studied the man carefully. The way he held that metal flask like it contained something more valuable than money. The way his voice didn't tremble even under the weight of mockery. The billionaire exhaled. "What do you need?" Silence. Every doctor turned toward him in disbelief. "You're not seriously considering this? Sir, this can damage her condition. We cannot allow unapproved procedures." The stranger said a hand. I didn't ask for your permission. His eyes sharpened, locking onto every mocking face in the room. I asked for the room. Gasps again, this time sharper. The billionaire hesitated, then nodded. That single nod was a war declaration. The head surgeon stepped forward aggressively. Sir, I must protest. The billionaire cut him off with a raised palm. Leave, all of you, now. The doctors stood frozen. This was their territory, science, medicine, prestige, yet a stranger with a flask had just taken command. The black single dad moved toward the bed, and the doctors instinctively blocked him. Get out. His voice was no longer calm. It was a thunderstorm. Even the guards stepped back. One by one, furious, insulted, humiliated, the doctors marched out, some muttering, some glaring, some laughing bitterly. As the last one left, the head surgeon hissed, "When she doesn't wake up, remember who you trusted." The door slammed. And now, the room belonged to him. The door clicked shut behind the last doctor, and suddenly the room felt bigger, quieter, heavier. Monitors beeped softly. The billionaire's daughter lay still, and the billionaire himself stood frozen near the window, watching a stranger prepare to do what the world's best medical teams couldn't. The black single dad stepped closer to the bed, placing his metal flask on the side table with a gentle tap. He touched the girl's forehead, lightly, respectfully, like someone touching something sacred. Then he whispered something under his breath. Not a prayer, not a chant. Something else. Something the billionaire couldn't quite hear. Outside the door, chaos was building. This is malpractice. He's going to kill her. We should call the board, call the police, call someone. The billionaire has lost his mind. Their voices leaked through the door like poison, but the stranger didn't even flinch. He unscrewed the flask. A faint trail of steam rose into the air, clean, pure, almost glowing under the warm lights. He dipped his fingers inside and whispered, "Stay with me, okay? Come back." He placed a droplet on her lips. Nothing happened. Then another. And another. Outside, the mockery grew louder. He thinks water can cure organ failure? This is ridiculous. He's buying time. He's a fraud. A desperate fraud. 5 minutes or kuch bhi change nahi hota. One doctor muttered, "When she flatlines, it'll be his fault." Inside, the black single dad closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. His posture straightened. Every movement precise, practiced, intentional. He wasn't guessing. He wasn't hoping. He was working. The billionaire took a hesitant step closer. "Will it help her?" he whispered. The man didn't look up. "It already is." The billionaire stared at him, this calm, stubborn, unshakable stranger, wondering why he believed those words more than anything the specialists had said. Another minute passed, then another, and suddenly, a twitch. So small it could have been imagined. But the black single dad saw it instantly. "There she is." Her fingers moved. Her eyelids fluttered. A soft gasp escaped her throat. The billionaire froze. His heart slammed against his ribs. Then, her pulse jumped. The monitor beeped faster. And then, her eyes opened. Just 5 minutes. Just water. The billionaire stumbled back in shock. Outside the door, the doctors were still laughing. They had no idea what was coming. For a moment, the world stood absolutely still. The billionaire's daughter blinked, confused, her chest rising with the first steady breath she'd taken in hours. Her eyes scanned the room, slow, dazed, until they landed on the man standing beside her. The black single dad smiled softly. "Welcome back, sweetheart." Her lips trembled. "Dad?" she whispered. Not to the billionaire, but to him. The billionaire gasped, but before he could step forward, the girl squeezed the man, his wrist, as if anchoring herself to life. Inside the hallway, the muffled arguments suddenly stopped. "Do you hear that? Was that the monitor? Her vitals are climbing. How?" Someone turned the doorknob. The billionaire didn't move. He couldn't. His throat tightened as he watched color return to his daughter's face, warmth where minutes ago there was only fading life. The door swung open. The doctors stormed in, annoyed, confrontational, ready to blame someone. "Sir, we must insist." Then they froze, dead silent. Their eyes widened as they stared at the girl, awake, breathing, looking around. One doctor dropped his clipboard. Another stepped forward, trembling. This is impossible. Her vitals were collapsing. Nothing could reverse it that fast. "What did you do?" The head surgeon's face turned chalk white. He stared at the black single dad like he was looking at a ghost. "No therapy works that quickly. Not even experimental procedures." The billionaire finally found his voice. It cracked. She opened her eyes." His knees buckled, and he caught the side of the bed for support, tears spilling onto the sheets. His daughter reached weakly toward him. "Dad, don't cry." He broke. He pressed his forehead against her hand, shaking with relief, joy, disbelief. $1 billion couldn't do this. Foreign doctors couldn't do this. Even the cutting-edge machines surrounding her couldn't do this. But the stranger had. The head surgeon snapped out of his shock and pointed aggressively. "You explain yourself. What is this water therapy? What did you give her? Some illegal stimulant? A drug? You tricked everyone." Before he could finish, the billionaire spun around with a fury no one had ever seen. "Enough!" The entire room fell silent. "You mocked him. You doubted him. You laughed in my daughter's face while she was dying." He stepped toward the black single dad, voice trembling. "And he brought her back." The billionaire bowed at his head. "Sir, who are you?" The black single dad finally looked up, and for the first time there was a hint of the truth in his eyes. "Someone you should have called a long time ago." The room felt different now, as if the air itself knew something extraordinary had just happened. The billionaire wiped his face with shaking hands, still kneeling beside his daughter. She was awake, her eyes steady, her breathing soft but strong. He turned slowly toward the black single dad. "You saved her." The words cracked out of him like they'd been trapped for hours. "I don't understand how, but you did. Please, tell me who you are." The doctors, humiliated minutes ago, now hovered behind him like scared children. Their faces showed disbelief, jealousy, and fear. The head surgeon stepped forward, voice trembling with anger he couldn't hide. "We deserve an explanation. This man bypassed protocol, used unauthorized substances, applied—" The billionaire snapped toward him. Silence. The doctor flinched, swallowing hard. The black single dad didn't move. He just placed the metal flask back into his jacket, as if he'd closed the final chapter of a story only he understood. He walked toward the billionaire, his boots echoing on the polished floor. "What you saw," he began softly, "wasn't magic, and it wasn't rebellion against science. It was knowledge your doctors never cared to learn." One of the foreign doctors whispered almost defensively, "Water cannot do this. Not physiologically, not medically. The man looked at him with calm, steady eyes. Not the water, the method. A ripple of confusion passed through the room. The billionaire stepped closer, voice dropping to a tremor. Why did you come tonight? Out of everyone in the world, why you? The black single dad looked at him, really looked at him, as if weighing a truth that carried more weight than the Billionaire's fortune. Finally he spoke. Because 10 years ago, your daughter saved mine. The billionaire's breath caught. The room stilled. The doctors exchanged shocked glances. The billionaire whispered, What? What do you mean? The man continued. My daughter collapsed at a charity event. Your little girl, just a child, held her hand until the ambulance came. She didn't know me. She didn't know my daughter, but she stayed. He paused, voice thickening. Some debts aren't paid with money. The billionaire's throat closed. He sank into a chair, overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the doctors, red-faced, shaken, scrambling for control, began whispering, If he can revive patients like this, we're out of a job. This could redefine medicine, or destroy us. But the billionaire wasn't listening. His focus was only on the man who brought his world back to life. He stood, walked forward, and placed both hands on the black single dad's shoulders. My entire estate, my offer still stands. Name it. Anything. It's yours. The man shook his head. I didn't come for your wealth. The billionaire blinked. Then, what do you want? A slow, deliberate silence filled the room. Then the man answered, Just the chance to save more people you all gave up on. The room erupted. Not with applause, not with gratitude, but with panic. The head surgeon stepped forward, face flushed red with humiliation and fear. Absolutely not, he snapped. You think we'll allow an unlicensed, unverified, untrained man to practice anything in this hospital? This is dangerous, reckless, illegal. Another doctor chimed in, trembling with rage. If people find out he revived her with some water trick, our careers will be destroyed, science will be mocked, patients will demand impossible miracles. A third voice, sharper, more desperate. Sir, you cannot replace us with him. He's nobody. The billionaire turned slowly, and the look on his face made every doctor step back. Nobody? His voice vibrated through the room, controlled, calm, lethal. He pointed toward his daughter, awake, breathing, alive. You had 20 hours. Specialists from 3 countries. A lab worth millions. And all of you failed. The head surgeon swallowed. The billionaire moved toward them like a storm in human form. He asked for 5 minutes, and she opened her eyes. Silence strangled the room. The doctors lowered their heads, not out of respect, but out of shame. Then a nurse poked her head inside, breathless. Sir, the media is outside. Reporters, cameras. Someone leaked that your daughter flatlined. The doctors exchanged terrified glances. If the world learned a stranger revived a girl they pronounced hopeless, their reputations would collapse. We need to handle the press immediately, one doctor urged. We must control the narrative. Say her recovery was part of our treatment plan. The billionaire's gaze turned ice cold. Lie? The doctors froze. You want to lie about the man who saved my child? The man you mocked? The man you pushed out? No one answered, but fear leaked from every corner of the room. Security rushed in. Sir, the press is demanding a statement. The billionaire took a long breath, then looked at the black single dad. Stand with me when I speak to them. The world needs to know what you did." The man hesitated. His eyes softened. But before he could answer, the head surgeon burst out, "You can't put him on camera. If the public sees him as a miracle worker, we will lose all control of medical authority." The billionaire stepped between them. "You lost control the moment you gave up on my daughter." Then, a soft voice from the bed. "Dad, who is he?" The billionaire turned, breaking into a fragile smile. He took her hand. "Someone extraordinary." But the black single dad looked away, toward the window, toward the gathering crowds and flashing legged chairs outside, as if he knew this moment could change everything, for him, for them, for the world. And he whispered, "There's something you all still don't know about me." The billionaire's heart pounded as the black single dad stepped away from the bed and moved toward the window. Outside, flashing lights painted his silhouette, red, blue, white, a storm of cameras and news vans gathering like sharks in dark water. Everyone waited. Doctors held their breath. Nurses froze. Even the security guards felt the tension tighten like a wire. The billionaire asked quietly, "What don't we know?" The man didn't speak right away. He touched the glass, watching the reporters push forward like a tidal wave of voices. Finally, he turned. And the truth began to surface in his eyes. Not pride, not arrogance, but the weight of someone who had carried too much, too quietly, for too long. "I wasn't always the man you see today." The billionaire frowned. The doctors leaned in, desperate. The man continued, "Before I became a single father, before I lost my wife, I led a research program." The head surgeon blinked. "What kind of research?" The man's voice dropped to a near whisper. "Cellular recovery, emergency hydration protocols, rapid neural response stimulation, techniques meant for soldiers in critical trauma." The billionaire's eyes widened. The head surgeon's face drained of color. No, those methods were classified, shut down, buried." The single dad nodded. "Yes. After my team discovered something they weren't ready for, something they called unnatural." He held up the metal flask. "This formula was never supposed to exist. They erased the project, fired the team, and threatened anyone who spoke about it." A chilling silence fell. The billionaire whispered, "You were the lead scientist." The man nodded. "I walked away from the field. I raised my daughter. I rebuilt life from nothing. But some knowledge never leaves you." The doctors stared at him with a mix of awe and terror. If what he said was true, he didn't break science. He was ahead of it, so far ahead no one else could catch up. Security stepped forward again. "Sir, the media is demanding you come out. They said the whole world is watching live." The billionaire looked at his daughter, awake, alive, then at the man who saved her. He placed a firm hand on the single dad's shoulder. "Stand beside me. Let the world know the truth. I'll protect you, your research, your name." But the man shook his head slowly. His next words shattered the room. "If I go out there, I won't be able to protect my daughter." The billionaire froze. The doctors gasped. And suddenly, the story wasn't about a miracle anymore. It was about a man running from a truth powerful enough to change the world and dangerous enough to destroy him. The room went still. So still that even the machines seemed to quiet themselves, as if leaning in to hear what the black single dad would say next. "They shut my research down for a reason," he continued softly. "Not because it didn't work, but because it worked too well." The billionaire swallowed hard. He had heard powerful things in his life, Negotiations worth billions, confessions from world leaders, secrets buried in government vaults, but nothing had ever sounded as heavy as that sentence. "If the public sees me," the man whispered, "the agency that buried my work will come looking. They won't chase me. They'll chase my daughter. And I won't let her grow up hunted for something she never asked for." A long, painful silence spread across the room. The billionaire closed his eyes. He understood that fear more than anyone. He had spent his entire life keeping his own daughter protected from the world's ugliest shadows. Now here stood a man who had saved her, but couldn't save his own child from the consequences of truth. The head surgeon took a cautious step forward, voice trembling. "So you walk it away from everything? Your career? Your discoveries? Your identity?" The man nodded. "To be a father first, to do the job that mattered most." The billionaire's daughter, still weak but fully conscious, looked at him with soft, grateful eyes. "You saved me. Why would they want to punish you?" The man knelt beside her, his voice gentle but firm. "Because some people fear anything they can't control." Outside, the noise grew louder. Reporters shouting, camera shutters firing, news anchors speculating live. Security rushed back in. "Sir, the crowd is doubling. Helicopters incoming. They're saying a miracle healer is inside." The billionaire turned toward the father who saved his little girl. "You don't have to face them alone. I have influence, power, protection. If you step forward, I will shield you. My lawyers, my security, my name, everything is yours." But the man shook his head, slowly, gratefully, sadly. "Your power can protect me, but it can't protect my daughter from fear, and she's already been through enough." The billionaire felt his chest tighten. He had offered his entire estate to whoever saved his daughter, and now the man who did it didn't want any of it. So he asked the only question left. "Then what can I give you?" The man rose to his feet. He glanced at the girl he saved, then at the daughter waiting for him at home. "Give me silence." The billionaire blinked. "Let the world believe she woke up on her own. Let the doctors keep their pride. Let the cameras go home empty. Let no one know what happened here." He stepped toward the exit. "I came to repay a kindness your daughter once showed mine. Nothing more." The billionaire called after him, voice breaking. "Will I ever see you again?" The man paused at the door. Without turning, he said, "If someone else's child needs me." And just like that, he vanished into the hallway, leaving behind a room full of silence, a girl who should have died but didn't, and a billionaire who finally understood. Some heroes don't wow fame. They just want their children safe. If this story moved you, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss another powerful journey like this one. Drop a comment below. Would you trust the black single dad's secret therapy? And remember, sometimes the people we underestimate become the heroes we need most. See you in the next story.